Okay, hi everybody, it's the 23rd of April, St. George's Day, and in honour of that I have my little friend here, the tame dragon, to talk to you about St. George. He is the patron saint of England, Georgia, Russia, and at least two parts of Spain, as well as several other countries. But who was he? We don't know very much about him. What we do know is that he was born in Cappadocia, which is modern-day Turkey, and he became a Roman soldier. This was probably not a good life choice for him as a Christian, because Diocletian was the emperor at the time. Diocletian decided that everyone in his army must make sacrifice to the emperor as a living god on earth. George, being a pious Christian, didn't want to do this. Diocletian, being short on patience, had him executed for it. Depending which version of George's story you read, he was either beheaded outside the walls of Nicomedia, somewhere around near Israel, or he was tortured and then decapitated, or in one particularly interesting Muslim version of the story, he was killed off about 9 times before Diocletian finally managed to get rid of him. So, how did a saint who was born in Cappadocia and died in Israel come to be the patron saint of England? Well, being Turkish in origin, he was very, very popular in Turkey during the Crusaders period. So he was come across by Richard I, who was pretty much never in Britain, but when he came back, probably brought the idea of St. George back to England with him. George wasn't recognised as the patron saint of England until the 14th century, when Edward III made him patron saint of England, but it wasn't until after the Battle of Agincourt in the 15th century that George's feast day became an important festival in Britain and was heralded as important as Easter, something which seems to have gone awry somewhere because we didn't have a bank holiday today. Again, this doesn't quite explain why he became a patron of the country. A patron doesn't have to have come from the country that they are patron of. The idea is that the patron saint of the country embodies all the virtues that the country wants to project into the outside world. So the medieval kings of England wanted to be associated with George and his chivalric nature. That was the image they wanted to put across. And now on to George's most famous story with my little dragon friend here. Did George really kill the dragon? Well, short answer, no. It's very, very unclear to begin with if St. George is actually the George of the dragon story. And then, moving on from that, the phrase dragon itself was used in medieval iconography to represent the devil. So the dragon becomes a metaphor for the devil, and George's slaying of the dragon is a metaphor for Christianity, the triumph of good, pious Christianity over the evil devil. So, not really killing a dragon. But there is an account from Essex in the 12th century in a town called Wormingford, where Sir George Marney killed a rather large reptile on the riverbank, which was said to have been a dragon. The likelihood is that it was probably an escaped crocodile from the Royal Zoo at the Tower of London, but no one's ever seen a wild dragon in Britain since. That's all for us from tonight. Say goodnight, Toothless.